introduce you to something this afternoon that I hope will open up your mind and at the very least start a new conversation. This is P-Link, or I'm going to affectionately refer to it as Blink. And it's this idea of positivity, which is so much more than a positive attitude or feeling happy. And it's really about impacting the work life and life's work. So it's a blended approach, which I think is applicable all the way across the continuum of people that we're working with. The first thing I want to talk to you about is the conundrum. So if we think about the time in a day, we've all got 24 hours in our cycle. If we talk to most experts in this area, what I'm stacking up over here is what's understood to be best practice. If you think about the human body as a machine, what does it need to have in order to run at optimum? Well, we know we need about 8 hours of sleep, generally accepted wisdom. 10,000 steps a day is the tipping point for flourishing from a physical point of view. That's about 45 minutes to an hour. Time with others, fundamental to our well-being, as you'll see later on. A very conservative estimate of 8 hours of work in order to fill our achievements. Time within, the ability to not only reflect, but restore at the end of the day, for we re-engage with those people in our lives that are fundamental, again, to our well-being, which leaves us with about 4 hours of discretionary time. Unless, of course, you happen to commute. Let's just say maybe an hour each way. And we haven't taken into account the time it takes you to shower and get dressed in the morning. So, and just get your kind of engine revving up. So we're tapped out. Here we go. Full stack there at 24 hours, which we then have not thought about all the things that we need to think about as it relates to daily living. All those mundane kinds of things we have to do over and over and over again. All right, so let's say we can figure out how to get those into that stack. We haven't then considered all the things about building a life. Like, how do we add on to that momentum that we've got? Create more meaning and purpose in our life. Develop out the relationships that are so fundamentally important to us. So typically, what happens to accommodate for these things is that we compromise over here. What's the first thing to go? Sleep, right? So when you run on an average of 6 hours of sleep for about a month, when they test your judgment, it's the same thing as operating under the influence. And you will self-report that you're fine. What's the next thing to go? Exercise, right? Yep, absolutely. So we'll kind of tweak that out. And the last thing to go in that stack? Reflection and time with others, right? We compromise those things. Well, why does that really matter? When you think about the human energy system, if you think about the cognitive system, the mind as the operating system, and the body, the somatic system, as the hardware, the energy, our human energy, is our power source. And we can compromise that. It has to be fully integrated. The system is fully integrated. So when you destabilize the system by going for a long time with that, compromising that stack, by not getting enough sleep, or by not exercising, or by not spending time with people who fill your emotional bucket, you destabilize the system. But this is what we've got in our workplace, right? These are employees that are coming in every day. So we then we try to address that in a lot of different ways. The sort of most fundamental way is to say, leave your personal life outside the door, right? Which basically says, no matter what's going on with you, when you come in through the door, come in as a performer. We're at the place now where we can't do that. And even though the ask is higher and higher for the performance enhancement, people are trying to solve that problem with over-the-counter remedies. Red Bull, right? Lots and lots of coffee, smart drugs. Anything they can do to kind of amp up what they're able to give during that 8-hour day, or 10-hour day, or 12-hour day that they're giving. They are compromising themselves in every other area. So they have a commute, they're multitasking in their commute, right? They're emailing, texting, trying to kind of get that extra work hours in at a compromised level. They're compromising themselves from exercise, compromising from sleep. And I think the P-Link says to us we don't have to do that. Because what that connects us to is the theory of well-being, a theory introduced in 2011 by Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, which is really a very broad theory that is not just his. He introduced the theory, he put it together, but it's an amalgamation of a lot of researchers' work in this area. The theory of positivity tells us, in fact, that well-being is far more important than happiness, and that where we can fuel ourselves from an energy point of view, build our resilience, our ability to bend without breaking, enhance our performance is by addressing our PERMA equation. So PERMA is an acronym that stands for positive emotion, engagement within, relationship with others, meaning and purpose, and achievement. On my chart up there, it runs across the top, but what I wanted you to be able to see with this graph is that it's supported by multiple strong theories underneath of this. So you've got a broad field, it's only about a decade old, this field of positive psychology, broad field of researchers looking at what works to help human beings flourish, rather than a traditional psychological model that looks at what makes people ill and what makes them suffer. Why not pursue the evidence-based research that tells us what we can put into place to help ourselves and help our employees, help our families thrive? So PERMA, supported by these other all the other theories, basically comes down to this model. Positive emotion says all those yum feelings you love to feel, happiness, joy, elation, ecstasy, excitement, motivation. You could even describe sometimes somebody would say, I'm engaged. Positive emotion is a powerful driver of well-being, but it habituates and it's temporary. You can't hold on to it for a long period of time, which is why incentives don't work very well. Because when you first receive that cash bonus, it's like, fantastic. By the third or fourth time you get it, it's like, it's $50, or it's $500, what's it going to be? You have to keep upping the ante. If you're going to define your well-being by just that positive emotion, you have to keep doing more and more and more of it to get the same kick, which is what extreme sports are about, which is what many addictions are about, because they have to ramp that up. You also can't go to the other end of the spectrum on that and just define your well-being through achievement. Because otherwise you reach a point in your life where you've accumulated enough achievement, you feel solid enough about yourself, and you've gotten enough strokes from the people around you that you feel good from that achievement point of view. You're like, yeah, my bucket is full. You can think about it like I've got enough plinks in that bucket to be solid and full. But you know what? I just all of a sudden noticed I lost my marriage in the process. I'm walking out of my office with one cardboard box, and I don't know what my meaning and purpose is. And I don't even know who I am anymore because it's been so long since I've spent time in my own company, let alone had the feeling of any sort of sustainable, long-term, or reoccurring sense of positive emotion. So when we think about this, PERMA, and understanding PERMA, understanding how to build it for yourself, how to sustain it over time for yourself, how to understand what I call your well-being domains, which is, if you think of PERMA as the 5 domains, how to understand what incorporates those well-being domains, how to use those, build those into your daily life. We heard a story this morning about somebody who's actually learning how to do that all of the time. It's when she called it a flip, right, or a turnaround. You start to just do it just by your nature. So instead of the negativity bias shaping everything that you see and experience in the world, the positivity bias shapes it. That ability to do the future prospecting for what's possible, to look for the frustrated opportunity in every challenge, to be able to manage your well-being domains well because you know them, invest yourself wisely and with longevity, and get that payoff that comes with sustainable well-being, which once you've got it, really tough to lose it. And then not only that, but when you're in the presence of somebody that has it, you can feel it. And it radiates out in the same way that negativity does, except positivity builds and negativity drains. So PLINK, the P-link, is about figuring out that positivity link. How do you bring it into your workplace? How do you bring it into your daily living? How do you bring it into your families? And maximize your return on how you choose to invest yourself in your life.